Hello there. I'm Marshall Silver, coming to you live from Casa de Millionaire 2 on the coast in Southern California. Hypnosis is selling, period. Bottom line. Great hypnotists are great salespeople, and great salespeople are great hypnotists. Let me explain why I believe that, and I'm sure by the time I'm done, you'll believe it too. Oh no, is he hypnotizing us? Of course not. All buying decisions, and a buying decision is either a decision to purchase or it might be a decision to change your mind about something. All buying decisions are based first on emotion and then backed up with logic. Nobody needs a $350,000 automobile to get from point A to point B until you've driven one. Nobody needs a $3,000 custom made suit until you've worn one a few times and realize there is a difference. Oliver Wendell Holmes said a mind once expanded cannot contract to its original state. That once you know new truths, you can't go back. Well, I believe that a wallet once expanded can never contract to its original state. That once you get used to living a bigger, better, more enjoyable life, you will never go back. If you had the opportunity to fly with me on a private jet, which we fly exclusively on these days, once, you'd like it. Twice, you'd like it a lot. Three times, and flying commercially ever again would not be comfortable for you, I promise you. All buying decisions are based first on emotion and then backed up with logic. So your job as a hypnotist, your job as a person of influence, is to get someone emotionally connected to the thing that you're selling, or in the case of a hypnotist, the transformation you want to assist them in making. Once you have allowed them and gotten them to be emotionally connected, then logic backs up that decision and reinforces the program. All buying decisions are based first emotionally, backed up logically. Your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. What that means is your subconscious emotional mind is where the deepest programs of your mind live. Your conscious mind is called the critical factor. It's the logical portion of your mind. It's the gatekeeper of whatever gets to your subconscious mind. So based on that, all buying decisions are truly first subconscious and then backed up consciously. First emotional and then backed up logically. How powerful is that? I want you to grab a pen, a pad of paper, and start taking some very powerful notes as I start to teach you some very powerful skills that can be used both hypnotically in your hypnotherapy sessions as well as professionally anytime you sell things. First, let's start off with the foundational beliefs that a person that is great at hypnosis and great at sales holds. One of the key beliefs that a person that is great at influence or great at helping others transform is that we are doing them a favor. Whether we're selling them something or whether we're giving them hypnotic programs for change, we are doing them a favor. And because we believe in what we're selling or what we're doing, we have a moral and ethical obligation to sell it. My firm belief is that the bottom line in every economy is that the economy does better when more cash is flowing. When more is bought and sold, everyone wins. On 9/11, our president broadcast through the airwaves that we are in financial turmoil. And if you want to save the economy here in the U.S., go out and spend money. Go buy your kids the school clothes they need for this new year. Go buy that car that you test drove. Go buy that home that you walked through. Go spend money. Now, most people understand on a global level that that makes sense. And yet, please understand on a personal level, it also makes sense. That if you want more money in your life, you've got to plant the seeds of money. You've got to go spend money yourself. Those that are afraid to buy are always afraid to sell. So if you have any programs that you have that are negative towards selling, maybe you go on a webinar and you don't like the fact that things are being sold, or you go to a seminar, or you see a commercial on television, realize that's the real world, and that's how the real world really works. And the sooner you get over your resentment that things are being sold, the sooner you will be able to start enjoying the profits of allowing your product and service out in the real world and the benefits back of people making those purchase decisions. It kind of tickles me when I see people getting upset about things being sold, and I realize it's not that things are being sold, it may be that they can't afford them. I myself am easily sold things. You could probably tell by my wrists, I like to spend money. It's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for the entire economy. Influence is understanding that small commitments lead to large commitments. My task as a hypnotist is to get my subjects to respond to small suggestions before I give them greater suggestions later on. It may be that I do my hypnotic stage show and I begin by rearranging the subjects, getting them used to following small directives. It may be that as I begin my induction, all I want them to do is to close their eyes. It may be that my next suggestion is for them to surrender and relax the tension from their bodies. As my show progresses, I may give a suggestion of laughter, I may give a suggestion of arm levitation, I may give a suggestion to sing like Madonna or strip like a Chippendales dancer. And yet those later, more profound, more difficult suggestions only occur when you've built that foundation early on. Small commitments lead to large commitments. In hypnosis and in influence in general, we never ask. As an authority figure, we tell. So rather than asking someone, would you please lay down on the couch to begin our hypnotherapy session, you direct them, lay down on the couch there. If you are doing sales, you might make it more subtle. If you're selling a home by grabbing somebody by their arm or by their wrist and saying, oh my gosh, come here, look at this view, isn't that awesome? Realize that people of influence have a very assumptive belief that they're doing the other person a favor. Therefore, when they sell, they always assume the other person already wants to purchase what they're selling. In fact, they're often shocked if the other person says no. I'd like to give you a framework for something I call the persuasion equation. It's a very simple framework that you can use to understand the process of hypnosis at its simplest levels so that you can then expand upon it at a later time. The persuasion equation has 5 very simple and very basic elements. Element number 1, you must gain rapport before you can exert influence. What do I mean by that? Rapport means trust. The number 1 element of gaining rapport or trust is congruency yourself. In other words, the words that you say, the way that you move your body, the tone of your voice are all congruent. One of the reasons I know you can trust me to teach you how to make money is I've made money myself. One of the things that you must know is that on an annual basis, because of my huge production show in Las Vegas, my television appearances around the world, and all of our programs that have been released worldwide, on an annual basis, I hypnotize more individuals than any other person on the planet. I don't tell you that out of ego. I tell you that because it's a fact. People of influence aren't afraid to state facts. They're not afraid to tell you who they are because they believe the distinction between cockiness and confidence is that confidence allows for greatness in other people. I'm great and so are you, is the concept. One of the things that I am positive about is the congruency of what I'm teaching you works. Should you get a chance to come watch me speak live, whether it's a lecture or whether I'm at a conference and I'm teaching, you'll see that not only do I teach influence, I utilize influence while I'm teaching it so that my students end up buying from me right at the event. Why is that? People vote with their wallets. People can tell you all day long how awesome you are, how great your work is. Yet if they don't reach in their pocket, pull out their cash, their credit cards, their checks, and buy what you were selling, they didn't mean it. They were just blowing smoke. They were just wanting you to feel good. People vote with their wallets. Their truest expression is, did they buy? Now that said, you can always sell a person more than what they want and never less. Since people not only vote with their wallets, the level at which people will commit to something is the level at which they're already committed. I know when I do a free seminar that if I had charged those people for the very same content, they would take better notes. This very video, if you'd paid $1 million to view it, I promise you, you would have gotten a pad of paper and a pen when I told you to. Step 1 of the persuasion equation, gain rapport. How do you do that? Number 1, be congruent. Be a product of the product. In addition, also identify with your audience. Identify with your potential buyers. I know what it's like to struggle. I was born and raised on a farm with no running water, no electricity, no phone. My second home was a converted chicken coop. I know what it's like to be poor. I also know what it's like to resent wealthy people if you're struggling yourself. The day that I quit resenting wealthy people and the day I decided to think what they thought, do what they did to produce a similar result, My entire world changed, so that these days I live a life beyond imagination and certainly beyond anything I ever thought I would live as a young man. Element number one, gain rapport. People tend to like people that they're like. Help the other person know you and know them in a way that they'll like you. In other words, let them know how you've struggled. Let them know how you've gone through the same things that they've gone through. Let them know that you know what they're dealing with. If you're selling an item that's a lot of money, tell them that up front. It's a lot of money. It's a major investment. And I know that it's not easy to make this kind of a decision. Yet my experience has been when people make this kind of a decision to go ahead with their lives and invest in themselves, they're always grateful. Element number one, gain rapport. Element number two, elicit the other person's outcome. This is where most people fall short. Most salespeople, even most hypnotists, tend to sell what they're selling rather than sell what the other person is buying. By eliciting the other person's outcome, by finding out what they want, you are able to frame what you're selling to look like what the other person wants. Let me say that again. When you elicit their outcome, you can frame what you're selling to look like what the other person wants. How do you find out what they want? You ask them. What do you want is the question. Oftentimes a person will say they don't know what they want, and it's for one of two reasons. Either they truly don't know what's available to them, and they want you to give them a buffet, a menu of possibilities, or they know exactly what they want, and they're afraid to tell you, because if they tell you and you have what they want, how else are they going to be able to resist you? So once you've gained rapport and they know they can trust you, once you have elicited their outcome and have a framework that you can put around what you're offering so that what you're selling looks like what they want. Step 3 in the persuasion equation is to give them a directive. In the case of a seminar, stand up, go back to the back of the room, get yourself registered. In the case of a webinar, you know you want this. You agreed you wanted this. It's got all the elements that you told me you wanted. Click the button below and place your order. In hypnosis, you don't ask, you tell. It's a misnomer that it's a hypnotic suggestion. A much better frame would be it's a hypnotic command. Step 1, gain rapport. Step 2, elicit their outcome so you know what they want. Step 3, give them a directive. Tell them exactly what action is necessary to get what they want. Now, what happens if a person says no? You give them a directive, and they either say no outright, or they simply don't do anything and resist you. Understand this. Influence is the process of playing with resistance. It was never truer in hypnosis as in sales that your job as a hypnotist and your job as a person of influence is to play with resistance. Always find your subject or your customer right. Whatever response they give you, realize it's their right response. Don't find them wrong for their response. Don't get angry at their response. Let them know that's exactly how they should be responding at this point. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you were trying to sell me a $10,000 seminar. I don't blame you for feeling that way. If I were you, I'd feel the same way. I do know that many years ago, when someone attempted to sell me a seminar for $10,000, I had the same response. I was freaked out. I thought all they wanted to do was to take my money. Looking back now, I have to laugh because that person that sold me that $10,000 seminar did me the biggest favor anyone has ever done financially in my entire life's history. That $10,000 has come back as deca millions of dollars to me. So I have just one question for you. If someone were to sell you something for $10,000 that came back as tens of millions of dollars, would you want them to sell it to you as well? By playing with their resistance, you give them more information. You back up the emotions that they're feeling with more logic so they can better justify that purchase decision. Step 1 is gain rapport. Step 2, elicit their outcome. Step 3, give them a directive. Step 4, if they resist you, play with their resistance, give them more information. And step 5, give them the directive again. If you need to give it in a different way or slightly varied, do so, yet give them that directive again. Repeat steps 4 and 5 until you get to the desired result. Finally, only sell what you believe in. If you believe in something, you have a moral and ethical obligation to sell it. If you believe in hypnosis at the level that I do, you have a moral and ethical obligation to help as many people as possible. If you don't believe in what you're selling, it's unethical to sell it, even if that belief shifted. If you believed in something for a while until you got more information and then you stopped believing in that thing, then stop selling it. Realize the most powerful salespeople are not underhanded. The most powerful salespeople are completely transparent. Never apologize for selling something. If someone says you're just trying to sell me something, answer honestly, absolutely. It's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for the entire economy, and furthermore, when I'm done, a month from now or years from now, you'll thank me. Give them a powerful future pace, and everybody wins. I'm Marshall Sylver. You are amazing. You are totally loved. You are a person of influence, and you deserve great things. Until we meet again, take care of each other. We're in this thing called life together, and happy hypnotics.